Hey everybody, welcome back to the tutorial series here on my channel. I am Boomer, your host, and today we continue Infinity Expansion Part 4. This is going to be the remainder, most of the remainder, of the machines that we haven't talked about yet. All except for things that will lead us up to the Infinity Ingot, which we're going to save for the next episode. Now, we have a lot of things to cover in here, and I want to get this whole thing started, but I do need to start up a couple machines by getting some cobble going. We're just going to use a basic Infinity Cobble Generator to supply a few of these machines. First one we're going to talk about is the Cobble Press. For those of you that you need compressed cobblestone for a number of things, right? To make the basic and advanced Infinity generators, or basic and advanced cobblestone generators from Infinity Expansion. You're also going to need the quadruple compressed for making singularities. The nice thing about the Cobble Press is if you watch, it's going through and tearing up a stack of cobble very quickly. But instead of taking 9 cobble for each compressed, it's 8. So you save 11% of the production cost of your compressed cobblestone. Nice little cheat. And by the way, real quick, before we get to the resource, this works for all of them too. So if I take out the single, let's see here, and I put those in. Same thing with double compress. A stack of single compress will get you 8 double compress. So that compression ratio of 1 less goes all the way through to quintuple compressed cobblestone. All right, next one I want to talk about is a resource synthesizer. We're going to spend some time on here. First, to talk about how this works. So we're going to stick in a stack of iron singularities and a stack of coal. For each one of these, you have to have 2 resources. And it takes one of each type of resource to produce the material you're looking for. In this case, iron and coal singularities each give you 32 reinforced alloy ingots. Now, let's pull up the guide here for a second because I've completely drained out my power. So to read this, the very first 2, whichever 2 items are identical, in this case the 2 reinforced alloy, I need 1 iron and 1 coal singularity. 1 iron and 1 redstone will get you 32 redstone alloy. 1 diamond and 1 coal will get you 16 carbonado. 1 gold, 1 emerald, 16 blistering ingots. 1 copper and 1 zinc will be 64 electromagnets, and 1 iron and 1 quartz will be 64 voltaic cells. We're going to take a look and determine again, and I did this a long time ago, and I want to update a little bit of what I said the first time around. We're actually going to look at the comparisons of all of them to see which ones are worth the materials, which ones might be worth the time, and which ones might not be worth it at all. So to start with, 1 coal, 1 iron gives you 32 reinforced alloy ingots. So what does it take you to produce that? 2,000 iron and 1,500 coal. What do you get in place of all that? And I just totally busted my sign. Gosh darn golly gee, how in the world did I did that? So let's go ahead and run a calc again on that one, since I decided to totally just chew that one up. Calc reinforced alloy ingot. There we go. Okay, so 64 lead, silver, tin, and aluminum. Okay, we got this. So 64 lead, 96 tin, 96 silver, 120 aluminum, right? Is that correct? There we go. Okay. So you're going to give up 64 lead, 96 tin, 96 silver, 120 aluminum. I'm sorry, this is not what you're giving up. You're giving up 2,000 iron and 1,500 coal to get the equivalent of this. So it would have taken you 64 lead, 96 tin, 96 silver, 120 aluminum, 128 iron, 224 copper, 256 carbon. This is where this becomes interesting, because that's the equivalent of 2,048 coal. And then 384 gold. To me, this one is a wash, maybe a tiny gain, simply because of the amount of time. If I remember correctly, it's 11 smelteries to make this. I'd have to go back and double check, plus also something to make the carbon, right? Whether you're using a compressor or whatever it is. So this to me is a slight advantage. If you're producing that much iron and coal and you have that many singularities lying around, to me, this is probably a decent trade. I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the worst of the 6. I think it's a decent trade. Moving on. All right, next one is 1 iron singularity, 1 redstone singularity gives you 32 redstone alloy ingots. So again, your cost 2,000 iron and 1,500 redstone. What do you get in return? 32 silicon, 320 redstone, 32 tin, 96 copper, 120 aluminum, and 192 carbon, which again is 1,536 coal. To me, this is a slight loss in material. I'm kind of looking at the redstone. Okay, it probably washes out, most of the carbon simply because of the amount of coal. Coal and redstone in a singularity in a quarry, would be comparable. To me, this is a slight loss. Again, overall, material-wise, I think it would be cheaper to go ahead and craft. Now, from a time constraint, this might be a little bit faster because you do need to go all the way through the process of making hardened steel, which means Damascus steel and a lot of carbon. So material-wise, to me, it's a slight loss. Time-saving is a slight win. So it's probably a break-even for me. All right, 1 diamond, 1 coal gives you 16 carbonado. To me, this is one of the best winners. 500 diamond, 1,500 coal. What do you get back? 6 glass, 32 flint, 1,024 carbon, or 8192 in coal. Even with the diamonds, you can convert diamonds into carbon. You would get 2,000 carbon. Now that's 16,000 coal. However, most of us, by the time we're at this point, probably have an excess of diamonds. Now, if you don't, okay, well then maybe this might be, for me personally, the way I build and the way I run quarries, I build extra quarries with diamond oscillators simply for the purpose of making additional carbon. So for me, this is a huge win, material-wise and time-wise. Of all the processes you have to go through carbonado making, this is a win for me, no question. All right, 1 gold and 1 emerald singularity gives you 16 blistering ingots. It's going to cost you 2,000 gold, 500 emerald. Look what you get back. 16 nether stars, 6 glass, 32 flint, 176 gold. Okay, again, 1,024 carbon or the 8192 coal plus the uranium. To me, this is a win. Even though I'm losing 1,800 gold, I'm getting back 8,100 coal. So this is definitely a win. I would probably put this as my number 2 win. Now, I tend to do blistering ingots the old-fashioned way through 3 heated pressure chambers. This is still a good deal. To me, personally, I think it's a good one. All right, number 5, 1 copper, 1 zinc singularity giving you 64 electromagnets. It's going to cost you 3,000 copper, 3,000 zinc. In my opinion, this is the big loss. Taking a look what you get back. 64 aluminum, 64 redstone, 128 sulfate, 128 zinc, 704 iron, and 512 copper. This is a big resource loss, in my opinion, and from a time standpoint, I would also consider this to be a loss. I don't see the benefit of this one. Electromagnets, using an autocrafter or even the Networks autocrafter, you can pump out more than 64 in under a minute. So this to me is not a great deal. The other one, number 6, 1 quartz or 1 iron singularity, gives you 64 photovoltaic cells, which you use for solar power generation from core Slimefun, which also translates towards Infinity Expansion's endgame solar stuff. It's going to cost you 1,500 quartz, 2,000 iron. You get back 384 iron, 384 silicon, 192 glass. Again, for me, this is a loss. Material-wise, huge. Time-wise, it might be a slight time saver, but from a material standpoint, to me, it's a huge loss. 192 glass is the one thing you get back. You lose 1,100 quartz. We're losing 1,600 iron. So I don't see the benefit in that one particular. All right, let's keep moving on. The Extreme Freezer has 2 different recipes that this one can handle. We're going to stick in 2 ice. It allows you to automate nuclear reactor coolant cells. So you have 2 options. You can either use 4 freezers and a fluid pump. to make them, or you can, if you already have an ice supply, you can use the extreme freezer to speed that process up a little bit. And where did I put? Oh, they're already in my inventory. Thank you. 2 magma block will get you the nether ice coolant cell. Another shortcut, definitely for sure. Uranium extractor is pretty obvious. Cobblestone in, small chunks of uranium out, put them in an autocrafter to give yourself your uranium ingots. Very nice and convenient. The decompressor. So let's talk about decompressing. Is simply vanilla blocks being uncompressed. There are, I try to remember exactly how many recipes on here. I think there's 11 or 12. You can decompress gold, redstone, lapis, emeralds, quartz, compressed cobblestone. It will give you back 8. So if you did it the old-fashioned way and got 9 to give you one single compress, you will get 8 back here. But that is an option. Stoneworks Factory. I touched on this recently on another video. We have a number of options. You can start by smelting cobble into stone. You can crush it into gravel. Let's see, compacting should not do anything. Yep. And then transforming, so we can go into andesite. We could transform it again into diorite. And if you're really crazy, you want to transform it again into granite. You can make sand out of this. You can make glass. You can make smooth stone. You can make stone bricks. You can make chiseled stone bricks. A number of recipes. You simply have to play around with the setting on each one to find out what's the best option. All right, let's continue on now. We're going to get into the bottom half of our ingredients in our machines. Let's just get a little bit of this out of here. So we're going to start with the advanced smeltery. I want to give you an idea just how fast this one is. How did I get cobble in there? Oh, because I put a, there we go, that explains that. Let's try this again. The advanced smeltery is the fastest one in the game, and just to give you an idea how quick it runs. About 32 a minute, excuse me. So about every other second, we're getting another reinforced alloy ingot. Obviously, as you know, they are very expensive, time-consuming to craft, so having the ability to knock this many out this quick is great. All right, the next one is the Obsidian Generator. It's as simple as it sounds. It generates 1 obsidian per Slimefun tick. Very simple, very quick, very efficient. There are a number of ways to create obsidian. Of course, you have the SMG one, and you can do it through a number of vanilla methods using Slimefun machines to harvest them. This is probably the fastest. All right, let's finish up with the quarries. We have the Geo Quarry to begin with. The Geo Quarry will geo-mine the chunk just like the regular miner will. The nice thing about this is that it doesn't drain the resources out of the chunk. It, just like everything else in Infinity Expansion, or a lot of it, it creates it, right? And so whatever the ratio is for that chunk, it will pull those things down in that ratio. Now, this works in the overworld, the end, and the nether, and you will get the appropriate items for that chunk inside of the end and the nether. So for me, what I tend to do, at least early on, until I have a End Dragon data card from Mob Simulation, I'll take this into the end. Actually, I'll take about 10 of them with me and power them up and run them for Ender Essence. It's a good way to get that part started, at least right off the bat. Now, about our 4 quarries. We have the basic, advanced, void, and infinity quarries. We're going to just get some of this out of here, and we're going to talk about the oscillators as well. There are 5 different oscillators that can affect how these run. Now, I probably should have said this at the outside of episode 1. Infinity Expansion is very configurable, meaning I can select to an extent what comes out of the quarries. I can also turn on nether mining, meaning if I'm in the overworld, I can get quartz and netherite in the overworld if they are so enabled to do that. Now, I believe that starts, I want to say it starts with the void or the core. You know, I can't remember which one. It might even be all 4. I'd have to go back and look, but this world, I have left everything on default, so right now it's off. So you're not going to see netherite, you're not going to see quartz because I haven't touched the configs yet. So by default, it's off. The server owner has to enable that in order to have that happen. So the oscillators, what they will do, it goes right in between these 2 little blue is that the resources that it'll generate will give you approximately a 50% chance. Now, if I remember right in talking to Riley, cobblestone has a 50-50 chance of generating first, and then the oscillator option kicks in which case you could end up with a lot. Now, obviously with a basic quarry, you're not going to see it happen quick because it's creating one resource at a time. If we move on to the advanced quarry, let's put in the emerald one just to make it hopefully a little bit more obvious. Advanced is going to be 2 materials every time they craft, or generate resources, I should say. So that time we got 2 cobblestone. Let's see what the next one's going to be here. Hopefully it's going to be emerald. There, 2 emerald. Moving on to the void, we need to create some room here. Void's going to create 6 at a time. So we'll put in the redstone dust. That time we got cobble. Let's see what we get on the next one. Hopefully redstone. No, more cobble again. Again, it's a 50-50 shot approximately. And then finally, the infinity quarry. So hang on, I'm going to go ahead and dump this in here. And this is what I tend to use on the servers I play on. When I need a lot of resources, I'll use the infinity quarry because I'm going to get 64 diamonds at a crack. So when I was talking about having diamonds to spare to convert to carbon, this is why. I generate, currently on the Royale server, I have 72 infinity quarries running. And actually, I believe right now I only have 12 set to diamonds, of which almost all of it goes to carbon production. I had roughly 40 of them going for a long time. That allowed me to build up a decent amount that I could sell to the shop to make money with. But now I tend to run probably 40 of them quartz, simply because keeping up with silicon becomes a hard thing to do. And given the fact that these need 6,000 joules per second, you need a lot of power. So I've been focusing now on making infinity panels. So a lot of powerful machines, a lot of great tools and resources in here. Next week, or I shouldn't say next week, next episode, we're going to wrap up with making the infinity ingot. We're going to create a live setup, walk you through the absolute minimum scenario, as well as probably the ideal scenario. So we'll see what we can get set up for that. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your feedback. And don't forget, when you're playing Slimefun, you gotta go boomer or you gotta go home. We'll see you later.